So a lot of you guys know that I'm getting back into comp. Only talking about solo cash cups because I still don't have a duo. At the time of making this video, there's 4 solo cash cups that's been played this season. I'm gonna walk you through week 4 where I got my most points ever in this season. Week 1, I got 77 points. Week 2, I got 46, and week 3, I got 48. Week 4, this is the video. You're gonna see how many points I get at the end because I'm not gonna spoil it. My name's Ken, and if you learned something, don't forget to use code KenBeans in the item shop. Maybe check out the merch link down below, and let's get into this. Keep in mind, no face cam because the camera broke, so only a keyboard cam. Right off the bat, one of the biggest things that helped me almost get double the amount of points this week was the mindset behind a drop. I'm gonna walk you through really quickly where I was landing in the first 3 weeks. I couldn't make my mind up with a drop spot, and I had no idea where to land, so I just went backside Joneses to this water area and just tried my best to come out on top. 77 points, not too bad, but for someone who's not a pro at comp, I'll take it. Week 2, I decided to strap in and get way more serious. I planned out a drop, but the thing about this drop spot, I landed backside tilted, which is right here. You're probably gonna see it on screen right now. I had a good loop path and everything, but it was so 50-50 off spawn that I died off spawn roughly 4 to 6 times. I learned from Jivin that if you do 50-50 a drop, you should be landing at a spot where if you know someone beat you, it's big enough to peel off, go somewhere else, and get guns so that you can leave that drop and go farm max. So carrying this over to week 3, I got so frustrated with trying to come up with a drop because I couldn't really figure it out that I decided that I'm gonna go Joneses this time because I had a decent amount of success, and I just thought if I had a couple more launch pads and some better loot that I could do better this week in week 3. Nevertheless, it went really bad. Got 48 points, died off spawn 4 to 6 times again. That's 2 weeks in a row of dying off spawn more times than I can shake a stick. This is when everything changed. The week that I did really bad, Jivin ended up qualing. Got all the way to finals with like 114 points. So by the time week 4 came around, a couple days later, I decided to hop in a call with Jivin and we got to talking. He helped me review some of my games and we determined what would make this better for this coming week, aka week 4, where I have my best placement, what you're watching right now. We ended up coming up with a really good drop, and I'm going to quickly explain to you what he taught me in the matter of like 30 seconds. For example, I'm going to use the Synapse Station. This is a newer POI, but this will apply to almost any drop spot with a decent amount of loot at it. When you land at Synapse, this is a real clear-cut example because it's literally divided into 2 spots. You can either loot the bottom right of it, or you can peel off and loot the left side. You get the best drop, and you're aiming for either one side or the other. There's plenty of chests scattered all around. All you need to do is roughly hit around 3 chests, maybe a couple barrels if you could, or maybe some splashes. Grab the loot and just get out there early. You don't need to necessarily fight off spawn, and this is kind of what caused me to die in all the other weeks. So what you're gonna see me doing in this video, at least, I'm going front side or back side sleepy. What makes my drop so good is that once I leave it, the route I take quickly off spawn that gets me better loot in the process, and I don't have to fight too many people. Because in these cash cups, I wasn't trying to fight people. I feel like the average player says that you need to just key. I've tried that throughout multiple seasons and chapters, and it's not that I don't have the confidence. I'm really just not that type of guy. There's so many examples of people that can make it to the end game and qual that way if you just play consistent throughout the cash cups, especially in solos. That's the most important thing. That's what Jivin was really sketching into my head. In the week that he qualified, I'm pretty sure he only played 7 games. Consistency is the most important, and this is what I tried to start doing this week in this cash cup. So I'm sure this gameplay is probably at a random part by now. I could be an end game, I could be mid game, or I could be early game. I got bullet points written down right here. Reasons why I sucked because I constantly died off spawn, never making end games, and it was super difficult for me to find a drop. Clear cut, those are my biggest problems going into this week, and this is what I tried my hardest to focus on. I'm trying to fix one area at a time. So if you notice during these games off spawn, those are the things that I have in my mind. So next point is that Jivin helped me. Got better at off spawn fighting because I had priorities. I would hyper focus up on metal off spawn, knowing that I can get brick and wood pretty much anywhere on the map. And I'm not looking to get max metal either because metal is so abundant on this map, more than I think ever before. If you quickly studied the metal spots around the map, you can commit them to memory rather fast. So I just aimed for around 2 to 250 metal off spawn, some shield, but not max shield because that's going to be impossible most likely unless I'm unconned, and just an SMG of any rarity, preferably a combat, and just any shotgun that's not an auto shotgun. So the loadout was 2 guns and like 3 spots for heals, depending on what I can find, of course. So to recap the early game and figuring out my landing, it's pretty much taking a massive POI and just dividing it in sections, not necessarily landing at one spot every single game, but being able to divide it so I can land on the outskirts, get a little bit of loot, dip off spawn, and rat loot the rest of my mats, maybe get a few heals along the way, dip out, get really good position, and that would put me in an amazing spot for setting me up for the mid game and end game. That's pretty much one of the biggest highlights of this video that I really want to put into your head. Just like I did early game, I'm going to cover mid and late game, and these are some of the things that took me a while to figure out, and I would say you're definitely definitely going to relate to this side of the video as well, because there's just so many things I feel like I connect with on a general level when it comes to comp. I have tons of confidence in my game as a mechanical player. Like I said, in the past, I've tried keying cups multiple times, doing it from all different angles. I'm not a nervous wreck going into these fights. What makes me more confident than ever before, and I actually heard Booga talk about this on his live stream, simply I just do not care about dying anymore. I'm practically fed up to the point, especially in these mid-game fights, that I don't even care what happens. That really does help me play even better and stronger than ever before, because that's when I have nothing to lose. When I'm on East, I gotta say, when it comes to mid-game, that I'll fight a guy if I get a clear advantage at the beginning, but I didn't start randomly keying people. I would rotate around the dead side and always be on the position where I think the least amount of players are. So that way I have the most unlikely chance of getting griefed by something completely random in the game. I also noticed that cash cup fights in particular, they drag out so long. If you don't full jump in someone's face and are really good at keeping the pressure up, you both are going to use all your mats playing angles and trying to go for right hand peeks and all this stuff. I feel like the best pro players are just so good at jumping in, they end fights in seconds, and they actually get a refresh compared to only getting siphon mats when they kill a person. That's why playing behind right hand peeks is just not my cup of tea necessarily. Maybe at the start, but not during the whole fight. The end game this week would really change from the last 2 weeks where I got below 50 points 2 weeks in a row. By the time I got to these games, some of the stuff I realized and some of the things that Jivin just explained to me once, and it's staying in my head forever. One, in endgame, I'm not afraid to use my mats to create boxes. I feel like I'm too greedy with my mats endgame, and sometimes I just have to create boxes, get my awareness up, and then make another move, using my mats before I can't use them anymore and get down to 1 HP. Even though you don't have hard mats in endgame, I really have to keep a focus of believing that the wood is gonna hold up. When you only have wood, I'm noticing that the best players are always creating more than one box. When you're in hard mats, you don't necessarily need to create 2 boxes. One will probably do because the walls are gonna hold up. Learning dead side is something that everyone talks about, but I realized that one of the biggest weaknesses in my solo cash cup was that when I'm in the end game, and yeah, I could make it to end game a few times, I constantly position myself in the center of the rotate where I have enemies on the right, left of me, up, down, left, right, all that stuff. I need to pick a side on these end games. Even taking pressure off one side is a massive deal when it comes time to get a refresh in a solo cash cup. Sounds simple, but over the times I've been playing cash cups, I feel like I've been getting used to playing the wager game of reusing pads and using my own pads. General rule of thumb, let's just say that I get a pad throughout the game. I think the best time to use that pad is first or second moving zone. So I always try to hold out as much as I possibly can before I get to those moving zones so that I can really make it to the end game and use that launch pad to its fullest potential. This is the final thing I'm going to mention for these end games before I let the rest of the video play out and you guys see how well I did. When it comes to end games, I would review some of my matches with Jivin, and he would point out, even though I'm looking to reuse a pad, you should be really studying the area around you and try to think, if I don't reuse a pad here, look for the best spot where you can reuse builds and using the sprinting mechanic to get to the front side of zone. Sometimes I got so caught up on the wager that I was going to win and I was definitely going to reuse a pad, and then when none placed, I would be completely unaware of what I'm going to do next because I didn't even take 5 seconds to look at the rotate to try and figure out a dead side so I can run through it. Those are the major tips that really helped me pop off to the best ever in this cash cup. From going to my worst placement ever to just having one call with Jivin that really changed my mental and how I go about planning in these cash cups. When this game ends in a matter of like 20 seconds, I have some questions that I want to ask you guys about certain things and certain scenarios that happened to me in the moment, and I want to know in the comments how you would do it differently. I think this is going to be one of the best ways that we're all going to improve at the same time. Some of this stuff is a little unlucky, but I always put the blame on myself, so there's definitely a reason to why these things happen. And it's funny at the same time, so you should watch. Just a little crazy guy camping in a bush. Nothing out of the ordinary for a cash cup. Here's the thing that Jivin was talking about though, where I'm planning out looking to see where if I can sprint through, maybe use dead side and save the launch pad. Or let's just say the launch pad breaks, I can still have a backup plan. So what you're watching is the last game. I just wanted to show you how crazy this zone was. I think it's the worst one I think I've ever seen. It went completely up a mountain, all the way down a mountain, and then you're gonna see here it goes all the way back up again. This was a little bit of a smooth rotate, so not too much questions going on here. You could see how I'm timing perfect refreshes, and I used the zip line at the perfect time, and I knew that I would break the builds going all the way up, and I'd have a little free rotate. Here would have been a textbook example to instantly claim kind of the low left side instead of just trying to chill up here on this mid ground layer. The left side here was extremely dead, and if I just trusted my gut and continued to that side, I probably would have been in a better spot and gotten even more points. Where I'm at right now, this is second height.
fine, bro. Just blow up your car. No. Whoa.
Bro. Bro.
Be naked, man. Nice, nice. Definitely push that.
Here's a really good example where it's a textbook kill, and I think if I just had a little bit better aim, it would have looked way cleaner. But I set this up super nice so that if he runs at me, I could do exactly what I just did. So let me know what you think right here. Personally, this is a really awkward spot when it comes to cash cups. This happens to me almost every single time. It's super frustrating. This guy pressures me to rotate, so he's spraying my box. So he's forcing me to leave. That's what he's trying to tell me to do. So I leave, but I boxed up a little early because I was afraid I was going to get shot at and I didn't know where to go yet. So because of that, he boxes up next to me and we take a box fight. If I continue to run with this guy on my back and not stop short, I probably wouldn't have
Might
died.
be able to spray the kid yet.
I kind of...
There's a kid here, kid here, kid here.
Jesus. And...
No,
No, he had 3 SMGs.
That's crazy.
I hate. I fell for the most textbook thing ever. This guy pretended to fake rotate and I got straight up beamed. And the second that happened, this is what griefed my entire rotate. I had to stop, heal up, and then I tried to rotate again. And you're going to see this exchange and what happened. So much chokes here. This is game number 6. Let me know in your eyes what you would have done differently. This hands down has to be one of the most annoying ways to die.
$300 builds.
Oh my god, bro. So this right here was the next game. Had this really shambles fight off spawn. So I decided to dip and continue my loot path to the left. I got really kitted and got really far in endgame as well. I know you're going to watch this. You're probably going to say, Ken, you got a lot of chokes there, man. All I can say is we're getting better. We're improving. And the good thing about mistakes is that when it comes to Fortnite in particular, at least with me, I only make the same mistake once. Let me kill this kid 100%. Play a flop here. I'm extremely disappointed in myself for stopping midway in between 2 guys in front of me and in back of me. This is definitely an area in Fortnite that I'm going to be getting a lot better at, not stopping. I outdropped this kid.
Oh my god.